Well, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Habibi Yunus Fajar Sodik, and here I would like to describe about verb. So, what is a verb? A verb is a word or a combination of words that indicates actions or a state of being or conditions. A verb is the part of a sentence that tells us what the subject performs. Verbs are the heart of English sentences. Well, there are many types of verb. For the first is regular verb or kata kerja yang beraturan, and irregular verb or kata kerja yang tidak beraturan. So, the verb that follow the most usual conjunctions are considered by regular verbs. It is regular since it abides by most, if not all, of the regular grammar rules there are. For example, is I play baseball. So the word play is a verb, especially regular verb, because the second verb and the second form and the third form of play is played. And then irregular verb or kata kerja tidak beraturan. The verbs that have irregularities in terms of following grammar rules are irregular verbs in general. For example, is I drove a car way back home. So the word drove is a verb that is irregular verb because the second and the third form of the of verb drive is different. Drive, drove, driven. And then the next type is transitive and intransitive verb. So what is transitive verb? The main verb that takes a direct object sitting right after it will be a transitive verb. They usually construct the most straightforward of sentences. For example, they take the ball. So the word take is the transitive verb because it needs object. An intransitive verb or a verb that the main verb that doesn't take a direct object specified right afterward, and rather there is an indirect one mentioned somewhere along the line is called an intransitive verb. This verb often make the corresponding sentences incomplete. For example, I laughed. Because the word laugh is a verb that doesn't need object. So it's called by intransitive verb. And then the next type is finite verb. Finite verbs are the actual verbs that are called the roots of sentences. It is a form of a verb that is performed by or refers to a subject and uses one of the 12 forms of tense and changes according to the number or persons of the subjects. For example, is Alex went to school. So the subject is Alex performed the action in the past, and this information is evident only by the verb when. So the verb when is the finite verb because it is the actual verbs. And then the next types of verb is non-finite verb. Non-finite verb are not actual verbs. They do not work as verb in the sentence. Rather, they work as nouns, adjectives, adverbs, and etc. For example, Alex went abroad to play. So the word to play is non-finite verb, and because the word to play is not the actual verbs, because the actual verb in this sentence is when. And well, I'm sorry. And then for the last verb, and the last type of verb is auxiliary verbs. Auxiliary verbs are also called helping verbs. An auxiliary verb extends the main verb by helping to show time, tense, and possibility. The auxiliary verbs are be verbs, have, and do. They are used in and be verbs is used in continuous tense, and have auxiliary verbs that have is the linking verb. And then for example is Alec is going to school. So in this sentence the word is the verb, and it's the auxiliary verb because it's the helping verbs of this sentence. Well, maybe that's all for me. Thank you for your nice attentions. The last I say, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.